An elven warrior trapped on modern-day Earth. Two friends with different destinies meet at a magical school. These are some of the stories we at Electric Eclipse Comics are working on. You can get your copies of both the Mana Chronicles and Tales of Itherel at elpmerch.com. Support independent creators. Explore the merch featuring exciting ELP Comics art with a wide range of designs. Electric Eclipse Comics. Imagination electrified.
Into my time, it gonna
always in your business. I hate it. Hey, I believe
you queen inside.
Some people think it's so uncool to live a life by the golden rule. Don't let them make us hate ourselves, but follow our dreams, follow our dreams. We don't need to prove that we are right. We've got to stand up and give them a fight. We've got to follow our dreams, follow our dreams. We've got to
Never stop learning, because life never stops teaching. Every experience, whether good or bad, holds a lesson. In every challenge, there's growth. Every failure offers wisdom. Life is constantly evolving, and so should we. The moment we think we know it all, we close the door to possibility. Stay curious, stay open, and remember that every day is an opportunity to become a little wiser, a little stronger, and a little better than before.
Well, welcome, oil runners. We have today, all the way from a different country. Let me see if I can say it again. Austra Putnina. She's a mental health, Austra Putnina is a mental performance and resilience coach, an endurance athlete. From training for an Ironman to navigating her own journey through injury, self-doubt, and big life transitions, Austra is all about helping people build the mental resilience to keep going, especially when it's when it gets uncomfortable. With a background in sport, y'all, it's early morning. With a background in sport psychology and a commitment to real, sustainable growth, she supports athletes and ambitious individuals in developing the focus, discipline, and emotional tools needed to stay in the game long enough to see what they're truly capable of. Her style is honest, grounded, and practical. And she's not afraid to talk about the messy human side of chasing the big goals. She's also the host of Chase the Impossible, a podcast exploring what really takes to push limits, stay consistent, and redefine what's possible. She is on Instagram, austra.putnina. This is all for the people who cannot see these things. LinkedIn, same name, but just no dots in there. Austra Putnina, AUSTRAPUTNINA. The website, AUSTRAPUTNINA.com. YouTube, it is Chase the Impossible with Austra Putnina. And I will put these up for you during the show when she comes in as she's talking. So that way you guys can see it and keep it, and go like, share, subscribe, everything, and get what you need from her. Like she wants to help. So we're going to welcome her in. Welcome.
Hello.
Good evening in your world. It's morning, 7 o'clock on my end. What time is it over yours?
It's 6 p.m.
Same day, right? We're all
yeah. We're still on the same day.
Live the life. What's been going on since we last talked? What was new?
Let's see. I would say one of the things that I have started is the swimming program for triathletes, which is a quite has been quite an interesting experience. I think today I actually did my fastest half Ironman like swim, like distance for half Ironman, which felt really, really good. And it's been something that it has helped me actually to appreciate and realize the importance of having the mentors, having the coaches, because they see all the things that you're not doing right, or they know all the, like we have once a week strength and conditioning, which is out of the water. And the exercises are so unique. Like some of them I have never seen. We had that yesterday and I was dying. But then like today when I did the swim by myself, I was like, actually it seems like really good. I'm seeing progress. I'm seeing the results. So that's been probably one of the highlights for me on like personal side.
Yeah.
Then a lot of podcasting, podcasting world.
So easy feat, man. The podcasting world, I think the swimming would probably be easier than this whole podcasting situation. And I'm not a swim. I like to swim, but on my own, not with people around or anything like that. I got, I'll float. That's what I'll do. Like I'm just cool. But yeah, no, that sounds like that's a lot. Like, man.
Yeah. But it's something that I'm kind of used to because I'm doing 75 hard, and during that you have to do like 2 workouts a day.
Yeah.
So for me, it's been nice to get in the water, do some of the swimming, because for the most part I would do more or like I'm about to start after I finish this, I'm probably going to look into like some running coaches to help with the running, because running has been my weak point. But I would be stuck in that belief of like, oh, this is the my weakness, instead of like what I see now at swimming. I just don't know what I don't know. And if I have somebody come in who can show me, oh, this is the problem, you need to fix this, you need to do that, then I'm pretty sure I'll start to see results soon enough.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, a lot of us forget to get the wisdom from those who actually have done it before us, and think we can do it all on our own, but we don't know how our muscles work. Like, for instance, in those things, how our muscles supposed to work. We could look at a physical therapist. You're like, oh yeah, okay, maybe we could look into what the book looks like and see if we could talk to them, but see, kind of get it's okay. We're not sick. Like, learn. That's what the information's out there for. That's what it's, yeah, because that's something I believe in too, is having that extra professional to help,
Yeah, and it's even like helpful to have somebody, and it's not just like within the, it's such like any area, because we all have blind spots in most of the things. And sometimes we even know what it is, but it's way different when you have somebody from the outside tell you what you already, sometimes you already know that, sometimes you don't even know that. And for me, it's something that I have seen how much more it accelerates your growth, because then you shrink that time that you would spend going through like trial and error, trying things out, failing, because they have done it already. They have gone through that. They have had all the slip ups and all the failures and everything. So they know what kind of like not to do or what doesn't work. And even that alone, it helps you save so many years of just trying to figure it out and doing it on your own, being this like super independent person, which I'm all about being independent. But sometimes it's like, if you have somebody who knows things or are ahead of you, why not ask them? Why not get like help and support from them? It has been huge help for me.
Yeah. It reminds me of like a mom or a parent and a child relationship. Like, please don't do that. We've been there, done that. Like, just like, oops, my bad. Yeah, we cut out the middleman, cut out all that extra, but nope, you wanted to go through the extra. Have fun. Bye.
Yeah, sometimes you have to go through that. It's really interesting, and I also see it in my coaching with people that I'm working with, and it's kind of it's hard place to be, because you don't want people to be in pain or go through pain, but sometimes we just need that to learn the lesson.
Yeah.
And that's where I really believe in that lived, or the power of lived experience. And and even like with I'm about to launch another podcast, Wisdom in Action, where a lot of it is about pretty much like breaking the habit between knowing and doing, because that's where the real wisdom is coming from. And it's something that I see a lot. And I know I was struggling, and in some areas still struggle with that for years, where I would consume, which is really typical, I think, for a younger generation, because we're really eager, we're hungry, but we're not as good as taking action on what we consume, because we kind of expect the perfection. And you never get perfection, especially when you do something you have never done. You will not be certain to do something you have never done. And through that, it's kind of like you get stuck. And that's where but at the same time, you gain experience, you gain understanding of yourself, of the world, through doing. And I think that's where, like, the moment you let go that sense of like, oh, it has to be perfect, it has to be the right thing, and you actually just focus on doing, you might be surprised of how many things actually can happen and how much you can learn.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with all of that. Sometimes I feel bad sometimes, like when I have to go through, for instance, like my surgeries, am I supposed to like cry or sit? You know what I mean? I just feel so weird, but I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to go climb a mountain 8 days later after a neck surgery. And everybody's like, wait, what? And I watch everybody like who goes through, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing, for everybody, but for me personally, I can't sit. Like, I cannot have that, oh my gosh, poor me kind of attitude, or have a pity. I need to go push through, and I need to see what's on that other side. But that's where I thrive, is on the mountain. Like I need my healing comes from walking up the mountain and pushing myself through. With bears around, wolves around, whatever, you never know what's going to come at you. I mean, you might not have anything come at you, but it's nice. But you get to smell the flowers, and your physical therapy's there a little bit, or whatever it is, like around. You're meeting people, so your whole atmosphere changes. And then you come back home, and it's like, okay, well, now I can sit and rest. I know there's a rest period, and that was the hardest part, but like. But still pushing through. I just couldn't. And that came from a guy that sat on the mountain when his wife, like I was almost 300 pounds, and it wasn't because of my pain came from my spine and all this stuff, but I couldn't even walk. My goal was to walk at least 15 minutes, or pick up a piece of paper without hurting my spine or whatever, like for 5 days. So my friend and I, we went up, and that was like the turning point technically for me, right? And the guy sat there in this little corner where bear infested little woods, and his wife went on to see the glacier, and they came back down, and he told the story. And I was like, well, did you get to see the glacier? He goes, no, I sat, and because I couldn't move any further. But obviously he was walking down the mountain. Like, wait, what? And I said, I'm not going to let nobody go and see something I wanted to go see. Halfway through, I'm not going to sit here. And I saw the little spot, and it was just like, that didn't make sense. You can't sit through your stuff and just sulk and let somebody else do it. That's how I feel. I don't know. How do you, like?
I think it depends, because also with injuries, like a lot of times and I have seen this a lot with like high performers, is that we have this tendency to push emotions aside and just like power through, but we never really end up addressing them. Like an example would be like last year when I got ankle injury. I haven't played basketball for like 10 years. I was so looking forward. I'm like one of the leaders in the team. And right the week of the game, I injured my ankle, where I knew it's not good. I knew I will not be walking the next day, because I had similar injury like 10 years ago on the other ankle. And on my way home, I was like, I was actually going through like a moment of grief, because it felt really shitty. I was like, I feel like I'm letting my team like down, and I'm also I won't be able to like exercise at the level that I'm used to, and I don't know how long until I can get back to it. And the season has just started, and my team really needs me.
Mhm.
And I was just like, I allowed myself to just feel those emotions, do a cry, and also even like with crying, there's really interesting realization that I got that there was like many years ago when I was back in UK. I was crying, and I noticed like I had these like negative thoughts kind of circling about me.
Mhm.
And what I would do is I would grab one of them. I actually read through what the thought is, and now I start to feel even worse because I think that it's true. Instead, the way I look at crying now is just me getting something out. It's just releasing emotions. And I don't attach to anything that comes with it. I'm like, okay, it feels like my body wants to release something. I'm just gonna release it. I'm gonna feel shitty. I'm just gonna sit in that really bad, sucky feeling that I can't play. I feel shitty. I won't be able to exercise the next day. I could barely walk to toilet. Like I wasn't able to put any weight on my leg. And there was like other things that I wanted to do with like races and things like that, where I was like, I don't know if and how soon I can do them. And being able to go through that, I think it's something that we have this like stigma around like negative emotions, because we think that it's like if you have them that it's a bad thing, but it's also part of like human experience. And it's something that for me has been really helpful to just, and I have like a lot of times people come to me when they have problems. Like usually when everything is perfect, they don't really need me,
Right.
which is great. It's a great sign of their like where their life is at.
Right.
And it's something that I see a lot is that one is the struggle with the setbacks and dealing with them, because a lot of times we make them mean something, but also not being as comfortable with just, and I'm still learning this, with just being. You just be. You don't have to be like productive. You don't have to like do something. You don't have to like push through. It's like sometimes you just need to be, like just be. And it's something that I actually did last weekend when we had basketball tournament. And usually I would be like trying to squeeze in some work on the side and like try to like get stuff done. And this time I was like, I just feel like I want to be present with my teammates, have fun. I still did my 75 hard tasks, but we would go like on a walk and things like that.
Mhm.
So for me, it actually was like really, really nice reset, which is another thing that I have learned over the last few years, especially through like some of my mentors, because I would always be on. I would be hustle, 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 hustle. And then you crash and burn, and then you recover, then you hustle, 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 and you kind of like do that loop.
Yeah, that's
Um, yeah, and like I would have like people in my life that I'm like looking up to, and I would see them like just doing something that I wouldn't see as like productive, like playing
Mhm.
games or just like doing some like going out or things like that. And I was like, I don't know if this makes sense, because I thought that for you to be like successful and all this stuff, you have to be locked in 100% all the time. And then I got to learn that like for you to be able to be locked in, you need to have resets where you recharge, so that
Mhm.
because like we are humans, we're not like robots, at least not yet.
Right.
So like for you to be able to lock in, you actually need to recharge. You need to prioritize like recovery and also rest, which is something that I read actually, the Art of Impossible. He was talking a lot about it, which I think for me is basketball, where he said you have to do something that you don't do to perform. You just do it for fun. Um, and like one of my coaches said me that, oh, you should like also post more content about basketball. And I was like, I haven't even posted that much because I'm just there having fun. I'm just enjoying it. And a lot of times I don't think
I guess she froze up. You could watch her as we were figuring out why she froze up on austraputnina.com. Are you there?
yeah.
All right. Welcome back.
Good to be back. Good to be back.
Oh yeah, no, like you were talking about posting stuff, doing stuff for fun versus work.
Yeah, and like it's something that he said that it was like really interesting. I don't remember what exactly was the thought that he was writing about, but I was really thinking about it, where I didn't really have anything that I would just do for fun with no like um kind of purpose or goal behind it until I joined the basketball team. Even though there's still like goal, purpose, and things like that, we want to win. But for me, a lot of it is just having fun, just being there in the moment. And I don't, I have considered trying to like be signed in a team or something like that, but I've been getting like too many injuries for me to be like going to like even a higher level. So I'm like, maybe I just stick where I am. Amateur league is fine. But even with that, it's been, and I would catch myself often during the workout, not thinking about anything but where the ball is. That's it. I'm so present in the moment. And I think that is something that has helped me a lot to recover and recharge. I'm still exercising, I'm still being like productive, but I'm not looking at it that way. I'm just there having fun. Like every Sunday I go with one group where we play 1 hour volleyball, 1 hour basketball. And it's a great exercise. Like the first time I joined, I was dying. Like I couldn't keep up. But at the same time, it never feels like, oh, this is the workout that we're doing to get in shape. We're just having fun. We're playing. And the best thing is I don't understand 90% of what they're saying because I don't understand Estonian. And everybody there is Estonian. I'm the only one who is like Latvian or like English speaking person. They sometimes say something to me in English, but for the most part, I have no idea what they're talking about amongst themselves. And I was thinking about it on Sunday. I was like, this is so funny how you can have fun, and I still would kind of understand based on like body movements or something, or like just from the context of the situation. But I was like, I have no idea what they're saying, and we're still having fun, and we're fine.
And then they pat you on the shoulder or the back or whatever, and then just smile and move on. It's like, okay, maybe I should get that link, whatever that device that they have out there now. I don't know if they're talking about me or not. Like, oh man, yeah, no, like I learned, like in art, there's like an artist, I can't remember the dude's name, but he did art for fun because he nobody knew what he did, behind the closed doors. And until he died. Like, but he said you can't, like you said, you cannot just work. It's literally, you gotta bring that in and do that for fun. Yeah, no, I totally get that. Sports, definitely I'll watch it. But I'll just be like this, but other than that, I'm not allowed to do anything like that. But nope, totally get it. Photography, I do that for fun. That's, I still sell stuff, but I need to keep that in my little
But I think
personal
that's the best combination, when you can monetize what you enjoy, or what feels like. There was like this really great way of this explaining it, that kind of whatever feels effortless to you and feels like a lot of work for others, like that's your passion. Because like even my brother, he's doing a lot of like photo video. He's probably one of, if not the most talented person that I know in like that space. And I see how much work it is behind the scenes, and I'm like, I wouldn't be able to do it. And he pays attention to every detail, and he's so into it. It's just his thing. And it doesn't, even though it is a lot of work, but it doesn't feel like it's work. And there's some, and for me, a lot of it actually has been coaching, because I think I was doing coaching before I was a coach, or if I like knew what coaching was. And even like recently at some of my podcasting clients, like with one of them I was talking about, I'm like, I'm thinking to focus more like the podcasting services that I do, and maybe step aside or like away from the coaching. And she's like, you've been coaching me this whole time, right? And I'm like, really? It's like it's so internal that for the most part it doesn't feel like work. But there was a time when I needed to take like a few years back from coaching, because I started to see that I was neglecting my growth. Because usually it would be like I learn stuff, I apply it to myself, and then I, through my experiences and kind of insights that I get, I can help somebody else.
Right.
But I started to cut myself out, where anything I learned would go straight to the client, and I started to feel miserable. It actually started to feel like a job. And that's when I was like, okay, I need to take a step back, prioritize myself, continue working on myself, because that's where I feel the most alive. And that's when I also I'm the best to help then, because it's like, who am I sitting in four walls teaching you how to be resilient? I actually have to go out there and do my stuff, build my resilience, work on my skill set, and apply things that I'm teaching, so that when I add value, it's actually based not just on theory, but it's also in practice, where I'm actually like practicing it. I'm overcoming, I'm facing like day to day. And I think that's something that for me makes me even more aligned when I work with somebody. But it's something that, like, since I was maybe 12 years old, I was in psychology. Like, it's I usually say I was young enough and aware enough to start work on myself early enough. And that's when I started to look for answers in books and like podcasts and like programs and like that whole thing. And that just led me to study psychology.
Okay. Speaking of psychology, now I know a lot of people, like you said, the books. Obviously, we need those too. Were you like one of those type of people that grew up in something that was like, I mean, in a situation, in a horrific a trauma-based situation to create that resilience, or were you just more or less okay, and then this is like ended up your passion, no matter what?
I think none of us are immune to some level of trauma. I wouldn't say I had anything like super traumatic, even though one of my clients, she has podcasts on trauma. So the more I listen to it, the more I'm like, okay, I think there's more than I thought. But there was like a lot of like, I would be really, I don't think I was shy, but I was really insecure. I had really low self-esteem. I always had this belief that I'm fat, ugly, clumsy. I also had binge eating. And which I realized that it was like actually like binge eating by listening like some of my clients' podcasts. It's so great to be in the podcasting space. You learn so much. And I was like, oh, okay, I see that. So there was like a lot of things, really low self-esteem, but I always had this kind of drive in me, and I was really aware. That's something that I was really fortunate that I was really aware about these things, and I started to look for answers. The thing is, I didn't felt like I had anybody to go to, so I felt like I need to look for answers in like the books, or like that was what led me to like psychology, because most people that get in psychology, they want to fix themselves initially. And then later I learned about sports psychology, and that led me to UK, because there was no program in Latvia. And so I would say like I was always performing well in basketball. But it was coming from insecurity, because when I was like 10, 12 years old, I started to wake up at 5 a.m. to do my own workouts before school. I started to put my own programs together. I would do my workouts throughout the whole year, whether it was raining, snowing, I would always be out there doing my workouts, which led me to be like the only player in the team that could play all game and not get tired because of the workouts that I did. But initially it was all driven not by like, oh, I believe I can do it. It was more like insecurity. I'm not good enough. I'm too slow. I'm too this. Which had its purpose. It got me results, but it's not sustainable or healthy for you. And same thing with school. Like I was always really good marks. That was kind of the standard for me. But it also was because I would put like a lot of extra work to do the homework, and I have relatively like bright mind, so I was able to get stuff pretty like well. But I would say I never really was like confident. I never really believed in myself or my capabilities. I always had this like overshadow of a lot of doubt, a lot of insecurities, a lot of not enough, and I still have no idea how I went to UK, because in UK I didn't know anybody. I was on a plane for the first time. And I also had to provide myself because my uni didn't give any like financial support, so I had to provide myself on the side. So I would do a lot of working plus training, plus I get personal trainer certificate. I was always like really curious to learn. I have had like a lot of things that I have done, like courses, like I'm certified masseuse as well. There's plenty of like certifications that I have gotten, but it was never like me believing in myself or me being able to like do stuff. It was like I wanted to do it, but I would always kind of be like, yeah, but I'm not that or this. And then I think throughout the years, I would kind of dabble in different things or like try like different businesses or stuff like that. But I would always kind of sabotage it. And I think I started to get real results when I had like a person come in my life who was doing a lot of kind of mentoring on me and do a lot of like mental adjustments and kind of help me to. It's something that I usually describe with even like with coaching is that a lot of times I allow people initially to borrow confidence from me or belief from me until they build it up themselves where they don't need it. And I kind of was in that place where I needed it from somebody else. And that person described me so well. Like he said that I was trying to help myself by helping everybody else. That was the place that I was in. And
Right there. Like we've got to sit on that one for a second, because that's a lot of us do that and thinking we're doing something and it's not working. And I'm a guilty culprit on that one. Like,
yeah, and it's a hard place to be, because also self-care, self-help maybe might not even be a concept. Like it might not even exist as a concept, as a thing for you, because it's always like, oh, like I like, for me it was like I would help everybody because that would make me feel good about myself, and that's the only way how I knew that I could feel like good enough or just like enough. And then I start, because like also this person will tell me that like he doesn't need anybody, and I'm like, that's not possible, that's not true. And then I got to the point where I was like, through over like the years of working on myself, building myself, being accountable, overcoming, facing like that whole thing, that's when I got to the point where I was like, oh, I get it. Because you build relationship with yourself so strong that you don't need anybody else to make you feel good about yourself. It's a great addition to have support system. It's insanely powerful. I have experienced it firsthand, especially last few years. Insanely powerful. But being in a place where you actually have that thought of, I got me. Like whatever happens, I got it. I got myself. I can figure it out. It's such a powerful place to be. And I see so many people struggle with making big decisions, making shifts, overcoming things, because a lot of them lack that relationship with themselves, or that connection with themselves, or that self-trust or self-belief that even if this is not the right decision or it completely goes wrong, I will find a way. Like I'm probably going to figure it out. And and it takes a lot of actually experiencing it. It's not like you read it in a book and you're like, oh yeah, got it. It actually takes experiences where you make decision, you mess it up, and it goes wrong, and you recover, and you do it 20 times, and then you start to have that belief that, okay, I got it. Like I get it now. I can.
right. Yeah. No, like we get, it's like science. Like you have to go through the wrongs to get to the right. Like you're closer to your right answer,
Yeah.
And I guess it was Einstein where he had to go through all, why didn't the light, or whatever. We'll get into what was it, Einstein, wherever it was. It's just getting to the wrong. So what was that turning point to, and how did you create something to break that cycle of, I got it, I don't need nobody, and just starting to, because that's a hard thing to do, is letting somebody in and allowing them to help you, be with you, and to trust their intuitions and what they have to say and all that stuff, and then just sitting back and being able to sit. Like, what was that turning point, and how do you do it?
I think in some ways it's not necessarily trusting others, but it's trusting yourself. So even like with other people in my life that would be like mentoring me, it's not necessarily trusting that they're right, because that might actually be wrong about me and what's the best for me. But it's being able to take it on board and actually evaluate it and trust my evaluation about it. Does it, like, because I would have like a person who would call me out on stuff to the point where like it would make me cry.
Right.
And like, but it was true. So that's where like being able to evaluate, it hurts, yes, but is it true? And then kind of like being able to suck it up and be like, okay, what can I do about it? Because a lot of times I heard this like recently, I saw this clip with Joe Dispenza where he said that in decades of his research, they have found out that having an insight doesn't lead to behavior change. So you understanding something, oh, I'm like this because of this, it doesn't mean you're actually going to change anything. So a lot of it is about what you do. So even if you identify, okay, I have this pattern that I don't like, or I am behaving this way, or like I'm doing this that I just don't like. Like for example, for me, like last few months, it has been like eating late, because I would end up working until like 1, 2 a.m. And then I'm super hungry. Then I start to eat, or like sometimes we would have basketball practice. I get home at 10 and I'm starving by then. And I was like, this is not working for me, because then like as I eat, I would like maybe watch something, then I stay up even later, and I'm like, this is not helpful. And then I was like, okay, I need to break this cycle. What can I start to do? Like, and I don't call them habits, I call them baby steps. So what is one thing that I can start to do? Okay, no food after 8. Let's start there. Started to do that. A lot of things started to like kind of, you remove the problem at the core by like one decision. But the problem is you have to make that decision every day. It's not like, oh, one and done, I'm good. And even like during the tournament, I fell off track. And now I'm like back at doing it, which like it felt a bit easier to get back because I was doing it for like, I would say like 3 weeks constantly every day. Like it was always like, I have like several baby steps, and the moment I have all of them checked off for me, that's a green day. And I'm just like trying to stack the green days. And also with that, it's like, because I had like one of my teammates who was like, oh, I really want to lose weight. But she would want to like get it fast. And I'm like, I get it, but it's also like, how can you make it sustainable? And that's the key, because a lot of times I think we want to, especially when we are in pain, we want it to be behind us now. Like we want to be out of it now.
Yeah.
But sometimes it might have taken us years to get to this point. So not always we're going to get out of it overnight. A good example is weight loss. Like you didn't gain all your weight overnight. Sometimes it's literally years until you get to a certain point. And I have been there numerous times. They're like, oh, shit, how did I get here? And if you actually pause for a minute, take a step back, look back, you're actually going to see how you got there. It's like, okay, I made this decision, and that led me to this, and and here we are today. Yep. And then what we want to do is like, we want to turn it around like as quickly as we can. So we go to extremes, and it's not sustainable. Then you fail and you feel shit about yourself, and you go back to the usual pattern that led you to that like bad result initially. And right. And that's where also compassion is super important. When you fall off track, give yourself compassion. Like none of us are perfect. And as long as, for me, even with 75 hard, I have failed a lot of times. And for me, it is a failure only if I don't try again tomorrow. So if I intentionally give up and I don't try again, that's a failure, because I actually stopped trying. Or I stopped showing up for myself and actually trying to improve and get better. So I think a lot of it is, even with confidence, the way I describe confidence, what I have learned about confidence is the best way and the simplest way to build confidence is to just keep promises to yourself. Because that's really what we like. If you think about relationships with others, who you know that you're going to trust? If they say, let's meet at 5, and they show up at 7 and they do it several times, or they say like, okay, let's go to like, I don't know, my first thought was swimming pool since my swimming program. Let's go to swimming pool like tomorrow at like 7,
Right.
and you go there, they're not there, and they're like, oh, sorry, or like, I'm gonna do it tomorrow. And how much would you trust that person? You probably.
Oh yeah, I got a list. It starts to like I started to compartmentalize all that, and like, oh, okay, I'm lenient, but you are on this list now. Like, okay, I got you.
And that's what we do with ourselves. We say like, oh, I'm gonna start tomorrow, and then you don't. And then what happens is you say, oh, I'm gonna start it tomorrow, and then you have the voice at the back of your mind, right? Sure, you will. Because we just don't trust ourselves anymore, because we don't keep our promises. But then what we do is when we try to keep those promises, we make them so big, and we try to make that leap so big that it's nearly impossible to make it or sustain it. So that's where, like, I usually say, just start with baby steps. And the way I describe baby steps is like, let's say you identify and you want to keep it super simple. One area, not every one area that you would want to improve. And what you do is you like set like some basic goals, or like 1, 2, maximum 3 goals that you would want to achieve. And then what you do is you write like, I don't know, 3 to 5 daily tasks that you could do, but make them so small that it feels ridiculous not to do them. Yeah. So it's like, even with a good example with reading, I have like one of my friends, she had such a good one, open a book. That was her baby step, open a book. Sometimes she might read, sometimes she might not, but she would open a book. Like for me also, I currently have like 5-minute core. I just need to do core every day for 5 minutes.
Well, that's a long 5. That's the longest 5 minutes, man. That's a large step for a lot of people,
Yeah, like, you can make it 30-second plank, 10-second plank. It doesn't have to be. It's like you have to find what is the baby step for you that is your ridiculously small thing that is like, I would feel so silly if I wouldn't be able to do it. Like it's such a small thing. And because then what we do is we stack all these habits and we're like, I'm going to change myself. But your change happens with consistent actions that you take. And you stack so many things that now, one is you're overworked with all your habits, but also you won't be like consistent. And really the name of the game really is consistency, because that's how you really build your character. You really build sustainable change, is being consistent. And it's about finding what is it that you can sustain on a consistent basis long enough until you're going to see a result. Because if you, even like with the weight loss, as long as you eat better, as long as you move a bit more and take care of your sleep, if you do it long enough, at some point, it's kind of inevitable for you to get to that result. And instead of focusing on, oh, it's not happening on the timeline that I want it to happen, focus on, am I progressing towards the goal? Because if you are, you will get there eventually. I actually have a good example on this. My Ironman, because like this year I actually wanted to do full Ironman.
What is the Ironman, first of all?
So Ironman is triathlon, but it's like endurance triathlon. So its total distance is 140.6 miles. Wow. I know it in kilometers. It's like 3.9 kilometers swim. Then you have 180 kilometers bike, and then you finish with marathon. So that's and you have, I think, 16 hours to finish. And half Ironman is half that.
So it's swimming in the ocean, wasn't that right? Like,
it depends on the location. Sometimes it's rivers, sometimes it's lake, sea, ocean, depending on the race. But it's an open water swim.
Okay.
So like last year I did the half Ironman with 90-day prep, which usually takes like 6 to 8 months to prep. And this year I wanted to do full Ironman, and I had signed up like next weekend there's a marathon, so I signed up for that. Then like a month ago, I think I got injured. I pretty much like during the basketball practice got slammed in the wall by one guy. Where my leg was like swollen the next day under knee. and it wasn't good. So I decided to downgrade to half marathon. Even that felt like, oh, I'm failing. It's a setback. And now I have the swim program. So that weekend they actually have swim practice, which like we have such a good coach on Sundays with buoy practices. Like last week, he literally jumped in water to show us technique, and then he stayed in water for the rest of the practice to just check our like technique and show stuff. So I was like, I really don't want to miss that workout. So I decided not to do the half marathon and just transfer my marathon to next year. And I would have these like struggling thoughts with like, oh, it's like a setback, it's failing and quitting. And then I was like, okay, hold up. It's something that I was told by one of the mentors about progressing, because I was like, oh, I don't know if that is when I was still thinking about doing Ironman. Oh, I don't know if I'll be able to do it this year, if I will have enough time, because I'm also trying to like focus more on the business. And they'll tell me like, well, as long as you're progressing to, you know that Ironman is the goal. And as long as you're progressing towards the goal, that's really what matters. The timeline doesn't matter as much as you actually accomplishing the goal. And sometimes things will happen. Like I have like, since I started basketball, I've been like getting a lot of injuries because I'm like quite aggressive and physical in the way I play. So a lot of people try to stop me and they use different methods. And with that, it's like I'm injury prone. Like I have injuries all the time. Like I have even like, see, I have blue arms from basketball games. It's like a common thing that if I have been on I was joking on Sunday group last week. I said that I was a basketball tournament, and there are signs that I was like on a basketball tournament, and I was thinking about it, and I was like, okay, with that step or like that goal, I was like, am I actually progressing towards the goal? I'm currently in the swim program. I actually today finished probably my fastest swim with like half Ironman distance. So I'm like, I'm actually progressing. Like I'm actually moving towards the goal. Am I moving at the timeline that I thought is the right one or the one that I wanted? Not really. But then it's like, does it matter? Because I am progressing. I am moving towards the goal. And I think that's something that a lot of times we get overclouded by what we think is the right thing, or what we see as good, bad, right, wrong, or it has to happen this way, or I'm failing. But it's like, are you? Like, says who? Like, I'm about to prep to do like a race that maybe 0.01% of population has ever done. Like it's and by the way, nobody does it for health reasons. Like endurance is not for health, it's for crazy people. If you want to be healthy, don't do endurance. But it's something that I think a lot of times we get lost in that, oh, I need to accomplish, I need to finish and all that, instead of like, am I actually progressing? Am I getting better? And then when the more you focus on that, the more you actually get motivated to keep going, because you're like, I'm actually getting better. I'm improving.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Lois Paley, she said, let me see if I can, she said, hi, Christina and Austra. These are great tips. Taking baby steps is the best way to make big changes. That way it's not so overwhelming.
Overwhelming is a big one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. For sure. And I personally have to take baby steps. My ADHD brain will not do that whole, like I will not do any housework. If I got to sit there and be like, I got to clean the house today. No, I actually have to write down, like it can go with anything with your advice. Like I have to literally legit write down in my notebook. Okay, maybe today I'm just going to take out the trash. That's it. It destroys me having, my mindset's like, oh, okay, well, that's hey, I made a goal. Like,
but also if you think about it, even like with that trash example, let's say if you now say like, okay, I need to like sit down and do deep clean everything.
Oh man, that's
how much sooner is that trash going to be taken out? Because you'll be like, it's so long to do this, so I'm just gonna do it like next week. Next weekend comes, you have like something come up next weekend. So actually, instead of focusing on that like one trash, just take that out.
Yep.
You now haven't done anything for those weeks. And I think that's where like it's that for me it's been like really interesting to see this, because I was in a place where I was like, oh, if it's not big enough.
Right. Yeah, you guys can chime in. We'll come in and put you on there as well. But this is great advice. But yeah, you were what you were just saying, you just went out for like a couple seconds.
Okay. So I was saying that like I was in a place where I thought that if it's not big enough, like it doesn't count.
Right.
But I discounted the time from the equation, because if you do something for like, let's say it's not even like, let's say 10 minutes a day, you will have done an hour in a week.
That's a good thought.
And that is 50 hours in a year.
I'm gonna have to take that advice. Like, still working on that stuff, but yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's great.
It's like we discount that, but we don't count in that it all adds up. And now instead of like, oh, I need to do this like 8 hours a day, it's like, okay, how about 10 minutes? And then actually, instead of burning out after like few days, by the end of the year, you will have done this for like 50 plus hours.
Yeah. And and it makes you feel better too. Like you look at it at after everything's done for the year, like, oh my gosh, like I did do all that. Like, really? Maybe I'll go and try another 10 minutes, adding maybe 10 minutes extra to it, and the next year. That's what I would think, that I would want to add extra. Oh, that was simple. Like,
and also as time goes, your tolerance builds up, so you can actually do more. We just think that we have to start at like, let's say, hour a day. But if you start at 10 minutes a day, and then by the time it becomes a normal, you add 10 more. Becomes normal, 10 more. And actually, by the end of the year, you might easily do an hour a day. Like for me right now, 75 hard has become norm. I'm doing 2 workouts a day every day. I would say like first quarter of the year, I did it at least half of the time. So every second day I was doing 2 workouts a day. And it doesn't mean that on the other days I did no workouts. I was just not doing 75 hard. So I was still exercising. And I was thinking like it has become such a norm for me where it doesn't seem like big deal. But there was a time where I was struggling with it.
Oh, totally get it. I was just thinking, like, you were doing your workouts, like, I can climb mountains. I can do like 23 miles in 2 hours, right? Like on a mountain, like I can't even, and I have to work on it, go for 15 minutes because of my spine, walking just down the street kind of thing. Like I legit hurt all of it. And I'm like, why can I do a mountain? And why can't I, walk the 15 minutes down the street with my dog? I don't understand that. And
a lot of it is mental. Like it's so interesting for me. It's the same with the running. I have this mental block. I can cycle for like hours. With running, I'm like, I don't want to do it. I hate it. And then I'm like, okay, what would happen if I actually? That's why I want to get a coach. And I'll be like, okay, what would happen if I actually got somebody who knows what they're doing and they would teach me? I would actually get better. Would I actually hate it? Because once you're actually good at something, you will not hate it. But it's something that it's really interesting for me. Even like the 5 minute, like, or 10 minute abs or something like that. Some days I'm like, I know it's only 5 minutes, but I don't want to do it.
Right. Yeah, no, I get it. Totally. I gotta find something on the outside, like, okay, maybe I can do photography during this 15, or something, keeping my mind off the actual walk. Or my dog, he likes to bite every other dog, so it's like one of those. I'll look for something that doesn't. Maybe
a lot of times I use walks as my kind of meditation, or sometimes I listen to podcasts. I like to consume stuff, or I like to do some thinking. Like I might actually do something in my notes or something like that. But my walks actually has been that time when it's really meditative. There's something about the walk that I just like a lot of times I have ideas coming and I'm like, oh, it's kind of like, that's a place when dots are connecting, and I just allow that space to be. But yeah, it's again, it's about finding what works for you, and you find that by trying different things. Okay, I'm gonna try this. You do it and you're like, I don't think I like it. Okay, let's try something else. And then like soon enough you will find what works for you.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I totally understand that. And I never have a stupid notebook on the I give up. Like, you know, they all come and the good ideas. And then I get home, I'm like, oh, I can't remember anything that just happened.
Yeah.
Like, dag nabbit. Like, but yeah, no, like that's where I hit all that too. The reflective thing. Like my shoulder surgery just threw me off this whole summer. Like, I mean, yesterday just I loved yesterday because it was just like I got out of the house, right? So I'm like, all right. But all the work behind the scenes, like I was like, maybe I don't know what I'm gonna do. It literally, I said, I understand the kids and the people who are in the sports getting the ACLs torn and can't go out for a year and all of that. I get it. The depression and like what you were doing, you knew, and I was like, I don't know what to do anymore.
Yeah.
Like
especially when sports becomes like your identity, and now you just can't do anything.
Yeah, and it's so weird, and I'm like, ooh, now I got to figure out what I can do behind the scenes. So maybe I can just do the editing and figuring that out or something. You know, kind of like my brain is like kind of half messed up at this point. I'm working on it, but yeah, it's
a process.
Like, so I was like, maybe this year is reflective, you know, kind of thing. I don't know. Like we're still working on that, but I'm on the reflective side of things. So kind of going, you know, stopping and just like, all right. So, do you have any last words for the people?
I would say do is one of the things that I can suggest is because a lot of times I think we already have all the answers. We just actually don't have the space to connect and to listen to ourselves. We are too distracted from ourselves. We don't even hear the inner voice anymore. So I think it's like finding time to be with yourself and learn what you like, what you don't like. Even like for you, as you shift into like new or different season, it's about, okay, maybe I want to do what I usually do, but what can I do? What does align with me? What is this season about? And just embracing that. And always working on like being curious about yourself, what you like, trying new things out. Because through that, you can find so much of yourself and connect it yourself to the level that you might never think of. That like I'm in the place where like I love spending time with myself. I was never in like I didn't like myself. I hated myself. And now I'm like, actually like this weekend I just want to be by myself. Like not by myself, with myself. Huge difference.
Ooh, I like that. Yeah, I like that. I'm gonna start using that. Yeah, it is nice. Like, and just be like, I can actually make my own decisions without anybody telling me that it's wrong or hateful or whatever it is. I'm like, no.
They might still say it, but you're gonna make a decision anyways because you feel like it's the right one for you.
Exactly. Even if they don't like it, it's like whatever. Like I'm out. Like I'll do whatever I want to do, but as long as I'm not hurting myself, hurting anybody else, I don't see a problem with it. You know what I mean? Like that's how I feel about it, and that's what I try to taught my son. You know, like you are an adult now. I can suggest what I can, or whatever, but you actually can tell me no. I'd rather choose this, and people may judge on me, but shoot, that's how I, so it made him feel a little bit more comfortable. He's not stuck in a mindset that he has to choose what I say, make your own decisions, dude. Like, but yeah, with all that, I thank you for being on. And we want you on more for sure.
More than happy.
and all your websites, everybody go onto her stuff, and really I put them all in there, and it's on the in the bio or in the YouTube description. Thank you. Like still early in the morning. and go check all of her stuff out. She was very wise, and actually, I'm gonna go check out a whole bunch of stuff too because I kind of need it. but yeah, we thank you from all the way here in Alaska in the United States, and
You're welcome all the way from Estonia.
yes, so, international into different countries and all of that. So we are all one family, not separated families, and we are here to help everybody. So yeah. So look her up. So we thank you and we love you. And with that being said, Chanan, that's what they say in Dena'ina is thank you in the Dena'ina language. And thank you for watching. And so we're just gonna